Hi, everyone. This is Avi Unfiltered, certified raw food educator and holistic health coach with www.eatstressaway.com, helping women get rid of their stress, drop those pounds, gain their energy back through nutrition and lifestyle changes without sacrificing their food favorites and authenticity. In today's video, we're actually going to be doing a client case study. So for those of you who jumped on the live yesterday, I did a live about Hi, Julia. It's always a pleasure you jumping on the video. Mwah. She's all the way from, say where you're from so people know. Exactly. She's amazing. I'm so glad I found her. But anyway, yesterday we were going over the 4-step method of overcoming overwhelm. So we're going to do a case study on a client who actually needed what I call my 2-column process. Okay. So their overwhelm actually led them to food addiction. So we are going to go over how she overcame overwhelm and also food addiction. So in this first column, hopefully my rings don't get in the way. Overwhelm. And then in this one, food addiction. Okay. So Uganda, awesome. So this was a client who was very stressed, very overworked, had a lot on her plate, was a mom, was trying to work, and was being tempted with food. And that was her go-to. Her go-to was food all of the time. So if you remember that 4-step process through overwhelm, which I'm just going to highlight briefly, but we're going to take a detailed look at what I did with her specifically. So let's go over that really, really quick. So the first step to eliminating overwhelm from yesterday's live video was brain dump. The second part of that was creating a bulleted list from that brain dump. Third was getting to the root cause from that bulleted list. Hopefully you can see. And then it was elimination. So eliminating the stressor. So when she presented to me that she was extremely overwhelmed, we first went through the process of journaling. So I had her journal. So this is from yesterday, okay? So hopefully all of you can see this. If you watch the replay, just pause it here because I'm going to erase this so I can show you her specific process. Okay. So her specific process to getting to the root of her specific issue, because we all have specific issues. When I work with clients, I give them a specific protocol that helps with everything. So what I had her do is actually start journaling. Okay. I had her start journaling because she was dealing with a lot. I wanted her to visually see what was actually happening in her life so she could pinpoint this. So she did some journaling. Not only did I have her do journaling, I was intuitively guided to tell her to bring her journal with her while she walked outside. So she was journaling out in nature. Now you're like, why did you have her journal out in nature? I had her journal out in nature because she needed to be grounded. She needed to get out of the house. She needed to be, a lot of times when you're overwhelmed, you're not grounded, right? You feel like you're all over the place. So this gave her the opportunity to calm herself while she was journaling so she can have a clear thought process as to how to get rid of this, okay? So through that journaling process, she also did a brain dump. So similar process. So I'm just going to write 4-step. Then I had her do a 4-step method from yesterday's live video. Okay. If you didn't see that, go back and watch that. So I had her do that 4-step method that we all learned yesterday, right? in the live video after she did her journaling out in nature to get her used to feeling grounded. I wanted her to get used to the feeling of being balanced, the feeling of being grounded, so she can seek that every single day and start to implement this. Okay, it's all about implementation. Imagine just getting all of this info and not doing anything with it. You're going to have to do a brain dump, right? So she did the 4-step method. And then she came to me and she said, she told me what was coming up. I'm not going to say specifically, obviously, but she told me, certain thoughts that came up, certain memories that came up. So I had her journal again, repeat this 4-step method, but this time we also did crystal healing, okay? Because I noticed that there were some blockages, energy blockages. A lot of times when people are overwhelmed, they have energy blockages, okay? So I had her pick out certain crystals. I was guided to tell her. I do this with all of my clients. I'm guided to tell them what crystals. So I did crystal healing with her. Okay. So we did what I call crystal healing, and I was intuitively given certain crystals to give her to help her with the overwhelm. And once she did the crystal healing, she went to the crystal shop, okay, picked out the crystals. Drop me a line below if at any point you want my guide. I'm going to give you meditations in there and more specific protocols so you can implement this 2-column process on a daily basis to eliminate overwhelm and your need to want to overeat, okay? Because a lot of people are home right now. A lot of people are overwhelmed, and a lot of people go to this column over here, the food addiction column. So we want to avoid that at all costs. So I did crystal healing with her, and that calmed her down. She said she went into like a trance state, a meditative state. She was no longer thinking about this. She was no longer thinking about this. Okay. Until something else, had wanted to come up. And we're going to go over that in food addiction. So once I had her do this, then I recommended meditation. And not the kind of meditation where you're just looking at the wall and coloring in mandalas, although that's fine if you want to color in mandalas. I had her listen to specific meditation for her specific, let me just put this down some, for her specific issues. So I had her listen to certain frequencies that would target the overwhelm. But during that process of meditation, I still had her go back to step 1, which was journaling. Because through meditation process, I don't know why I wanted to say meditationary, but made sense to me. Meditationary process. Just make up your own words. It's okay. We're free. She discovered more of what was happening. So we activated her subconscious layer. So she got to the root from the 4-step method. But then once she did crystal healing and meditation, she got to the subconscious root, which a lot of people don't activate because they don't know that anything exists in their subconscious. You ever see, a lot of times, I even remember myself, when I used to exhibit certain behaviors, whether that was overeating or doing toxic substances, I just did it. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing it. I'm just doing it. I had to really activate that subconscious. So she got to the subconscious. Did I spell that right? Whatever, man. Subconscious root. Nope. Okay. There we go. She got to the subconscious root. Let's look at the word conscious. Conscious is similar to conscience, okay? With science. So through this protocol, She, with science, with whatever, metaphysics, spiritual science, was able to activate this subconscious layer. So once she got to the root of her problem, she implemented this whole process on a daily basis. So she journaled. She consistently went out in nature. She consistently implemented that 4-step method. She consistently worked with me to do some crystal healing. She consistently meditated to get to that subconscious layer, and then she implemented all of this on a daily basis and did it on repeat. Now, however, she still had this food addiction. This is why it's a 2-column process with her, because her overwhelm led her here. So this was not something that she got rid of right away. Why? Because she didn't know why she should get rid of it. She didn't know. She just thought food was food. Okay. So that's the first thing. All food is not created equal. So what we did was I asked her questions. Okay. So the first thing I did with her is I asked questions. I asked her critical questions. Okay. I asked her why she liked certain foods. And her response was, I like the salty taste of foods. I said, okay. She also liked the comfort of certain foods. And it just made her feel better overall. So I told her, I said, okay. So what I did first, before I recommended healthier alternatives, we went over that curve. And this is why I give people my free blueprint. This is not what I'm offering today. But on that www.eatstressaway.com, there's that free instant download blueprint, because there's a lot of people who have a food addiction, and that's in module 3, because they don't know the basic nutritional knowledge and the basic science that goes into play. So me and her had a very detailed discussion. So what came next after I asked her questions and she responded with the certain food she liked, we had a very detailed discussion about food. Now there's everyone is still in that mindset that all food is food, okay? So we had a very detailed discussion where we discussed the certain types of food she was eating. So she loved ice cream. So we looked at that ice cream. We did intricate study of the ingredients in that ice cream, and we saw it had sugar. We saw it had eggs. We saw it had butter. We saw it was GMO. Genetically modified, which alters your DNA. We saw it had oils and high fructose corn syrup. So I asked her, and then a light bulb went off. I said, what in here is actual food? And her response was nothing. And so even though we discussed that, we needed to take it a step further. She needed to know specifically how that was going to actually affect her health. So we discussed, the weight she currently was. We also discussed how certain foods can impact her weight, how certain ingredients can cause her to be at risk for diabetes, for leaky gut, for autoimmune disorder, for metabolic diseases and cardiovascular disease, how certain oils were linked to breast cancer and different cancers. Okay, so she needed that learning curve. That I'll call it a learning curve light bulb moment. She needed to know, she needed her reason for not wanting to eat those foods anymore. So we went over that specifically. She was like, oh my God. It was like a light bulb moment for her. She was like, I'm not going to eat those foods again. So she had her light bulb moment. And then because she understood and got the basics down, and we really discussed that in detail, and I gave her a companion guide that would enforce this detailed discussion in this. So she got a companion guide. And cheat sheets to keep her on track with this. Okay. Then I asked her what specific foods did she like. So I knew she liked ice cream. I knew she liked French fries. So I gave her healthier alternatives. I gave her an ice cream recipe. So I'm going to write healthier alternatives. Hopefully you can see this. Like I said, feel free to pause the video and like zoom in. Okay, couldn't fit it all. I gave her healthier alternatives. Why? Because I knew that the foods that she was eating, the foods that she was used to eating, that's annoying, that loud ass fucking noise outside. The food, they're protesting outside and people are on megaphones and it's fucking annoying. Anyway, the food that she was eating, not saying they're protesting is annoying, that megaphone is. I totally understand, whatever, do what you want, but it's fucking annoying. Anyways, the food that she was eating was causing her to overeat because it did not have the nutrients that the body was asking for. So even though she was overeating and dealing with this food addiction, she was only creating inflammation, more weight gain, and her body was actually starving because she wasn't getting the vitamins and minerals that the body naturally wants. Okay. So I gave her healthier alternatives that would keep her body in balance, keep her from overeating. I always recommend nutrient-dense foods because they keep you from overeating. You become satiated. So she started to implement this whole process that I did with her and incorporated it into her journaling technique to get her to get rid of this. It took her a week. 1 week. It took her 1 week once she realized she could have those foods in a healthier version. So she had what I call a victory moment. So she told me, she said, I'm not even hungry anymore. Why? Because these foods keep your body in balance. You don't want to overeat. You don't want to undereat either. And it helps you deal with this. And not only did this help, it started to help her mind. She started to pick up a side hustle because she said, you know what? It just opened a door for her. She started to really do her talent versus working a job that she fucking hated, that caused her that overwhelm. So it started to open. She wanted to seek peace all the time. So my 2-column process, this is my 2-column process that I did with that specific client. If you want my guide that walks you through certain meditation recordings, a more specific, even more specific process, okay, with the option of doing a Q&A with me on that cheat sheet, drop me a line below and I will send that to you. This is not the blueprint I was talking about earlier. This is a guide with this 2-column process to getting rid of that overwhelm and food addiction for good, okay? Like I said, it took her a week. So in these 15 to 20 minutes, go and implement that. Let me know how it helped you. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask, and I will see you tomorrow. Now, I also wanted to announce, starting next week, I'm only going to be going live Monday through Wednesday due to the fact that I did have to move back from Ohio. I am in the process of changes and I stay with other people and it's hard to record all the time, which is annoying. Just like now, people are talking. So I'm still looking. It's a lot of places on lockdown though. But anyway, So I also have a lot of stuff going on, podcast, all of this stuff. So I will be going live Monday through Wednesday for the rest of the month, and we'll see what happens after that. But I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day and definitely implement this process.